Kinetic Carl here at my other happy place, the historic Samoa Shops out here in Samoa, California. They have it open for some tourism stuff. And I'm working on a boiler. This is our boiler shop here. And let me flip this camera around if I can. Where is that button? Oh, it's not gonna show it to me. Is that it? No. Still running. All right, well, selfie mode. So I've got a boiler here, the lookout boiler. Let's see, I'll get the, maybe I'll just, does that work? Let's see. And these tubes have all got to go. These are the fire tubes. The boiler's laying on its side. This is the Lookout Boiler Works boiler. Every so often you have to replace tubes. Well, we're at that every so often point, and I'm using a tool I designed so I don't have to hammer on the boiler. And I'm turning all the tube ends into these kind of cardioid shapes. You'll see here's one that's not been dinked in yet, and this is just a porta power. And I made a, gosh, I wish it weren't in selfie mode, but there's a kind of a chisel point thing here. I'll just have to, I'm gonna rotate it around to where you can see it. But it's just a piece of pipe that I welded a cold chisel to, and then I cut the cold chisel to a kind of a tooth, to tell you the truth. Let's see, I'll just keep spinning things around until I can't figure out what I'm looking at. Is that, there it is. So anyhow, that grabs right into the tube lip there and just pump the pump, which is this little hand thing right here. This guy right here, you just pump that and it expands. Right now it's not loaded up on, oh wait, did I have it loaded up? Oh, let me turn you around, make you all dizzy here. Okay, so I'm sitting on the little stool. Let's see if I can do this single-handedly. Okay, so I don't know if you can see, but I'm gonna bite that one, but I gotta relax the tube a little here. So I'm gonna let the pressure off so I can push this tooth back and just get a bite on there. I don't know if I'm showing it to you, if I'm showing me. No, you're looking at it. All right, so now watch this. I'm gonna tighten the bleeder valve on the brake, or the handle, and I have no idea if I'm getting this on film, but you'll see that thing just take that tube over here pumping, and then eventually it just plows through the lip. And I try to get them from several different angles, you know, coming at it this way, until I've broken up. And I'm kind of working, I'm painting myself into a kind of a corner here. And then what I'll do is, these are the tubes that are closest to an access hole. So I'm gonna then try to remove these tubes by cutting them inside, and then this end will wiggle out. And then the other end I just have to pound out, hopefully, because they're expanded. The tube diameter is expanded to tighten up on that sheet. I'm hoping that we can just push them off this way. If not, I have to climb in there somehow. I don't know if this is even showing up on film. Somebody's got some rope stashed in here. Was that me? I don't remember using rope. And there you have the inside of a firebox, the Lookout Boiler Works firebox. I keep... Oh, sorry about that. That was loud. But this is just the firebox door opening. This doesn't get me inside where the tubes are. This does, and this does. So yeah, so that'll be fun. I've got to come up with like a tiny little, probably use an air-powered die grinder, death wheel. It'll be kind of safe because it'll be inside this thing. So anything that comes, I'll have safety glasses on, but anything that flies off, it'll hit the inside of the boiler, not me. It'll, you know, so do deep, some kind of glove that I can get through that hole. May have to put the glove down in there and put the glove on once my hand's in there, and then take the glove off to get my hand back out. I don't know. Those are the biggest holes we have to the water cavity within. So that'll be fun. But yeah, Kinetic Carl here and my other secret happy place, not so secret, Timber Heritage Historic Samoa Shops in Samoa, California. Some big blades right there. We're sitting right next to the headgear to the Lucchese sawmill. In fact, I can show you the steam engine. It won't run, but this boiler that I'm here working on will make it run one day again. It's made it run in the past. Follow me this way. We're gonna go through the machine shop door. Boy, I wish I could figure out how to flip the camera around. Everything's backward, folks, or maybe you'll have to flip it around. I don't know. I think it's in, the camera's in selfie video mode. That's the number 3 locomotive, but back here, sorry, not panning around while I'm taking you in here. I'm kind of torturing you. Imagine there's stuff you want to see. But this green and yellow piece of equipment back here, that's the Lucchese sawmill engine. And the boiler I'm reconstructing will turn this thing. A bunch of different steam machinery. Pallet full of the Lucchese sawmill bracketry and plumbing, and then the base to actually it's the Lookout Boiler Works steam donkey pile. Lookout Boiler Works right here. Things that got moved around a little bit on me. They're not where I left them last, but they're kind of, I don't know what they kind of reorganized my stuff. You got this is from the Harnden mill, used to power the Harnden sawmill. It's a single cylinder steam engine, crankshaft right here. You'll see the steam cutoff governor right there. I think that's a 2-inch, something like that. These are all my little steam babies. I've been kind of ignoring them because they're buried in here, and I've been sidetracked by life. This is a wood splitter, steam-powered tornillo. It's got a glove on the end. You take that off and it comes to a fine point. It's for splitting wood. But anyhow, here's the cylinder set to the Lucchese sawmill engine. So that, let's see, how does this work now? Getting confused. Okay, so this is one of the cylinders, and then that's the other over there. There's a lot of stuff to look at. I have a steam whistle tree right here, which is really cool. That thing will play, what, 6 tones plus the main whistle, which is somewhere buried in here. Anyhow, this is all kind of in stasis. A water pump a triple cylinder. This is a pretty cool little setup. You fill this with water, you just hook up the flat belt. Typically I'd have the Harnden mill turning this one, and it just takes up water through these 3 cylinders and chuffs it out here right back into the bucket. You can use it to wash things off, you know, or fill a bucket of water, and then you still have to fill this. It doesn't, I don't have it running on a float. That would probably be a good thing, but yeah. The Lucchese mill engines flywheel there. I guess it's probably all glary. I probably need to clean my camera. Pardon my hand. Not helping much. There's a lot of schmutz around me, and schmutz gets on everything, including the phone camera lens. Some of that's just the direction the light's coming from. But yeah, all kinds of steam accessories. Yeah, someday we'll get out on this thing again. What I call the Netflix trolley, a series of unfortunate occurrences. The Netflix series, they used it for about, I don't know, a minute or so in the movie, TV movie, or whatever you call it, internet TV. Big log arch. Oxen, you know, this is back when built, they were transitioning from oxen to bulldozers, and the bulldozer Cat 60. We're looking at the back of it right here, with a sheet of cardboard over the engine so you can't see it all quite, but you can make sense of it. Big booms. This one can turn, this orange, that thing spins around. It can do complete 360, holding a load on a hook. That long yellow bar right here, or this is a rail system, and it has a cart with a cable on it, and they can lower the cable down and you can pick stuff up. There's a hand crank right here to move the car back and forth, and then the lift you usually do, you know, a chain fall out there, or maybe a little cable hoist motor on a cord. Yeah. Number 3, back in early 1920s, ended up going on its side in the bay. Got left in an engine house over a weekend, was being worked on. They left the throttle open slightly. The crew that worked on it over the weekend, it wasn't running at the time. But when they left the throttle slightly open, and the Johnson bar was a skosh in reverse, just enough to engage if there was steam. So the Monday morning crew shows up and hooks this locomotive up to house steam and make sure it's topped off with water, and they light a fire in it, oil it, and then go off to breakfast. And they know they have some time. They're gonna come back and finish oiling the machine. There's gonna be things that have warmed up, and they've warmed up. They can turn those on to help get the machine going even quicker. Well, they were off to breakfast. And I guess they took a long breakfast or something, because this locomotive came up to pressure off of house steam and chuffed on out the engine house and went down the line tender first and hit some derail gear that was on their track. There's a point out there in Samoa where the 2 logging companies that were competing around here, their tracks crossed each other. And the companies would put derail gear on the other guy's track. So when you're coming along with your train load, you have somebody there spotting the joint, making sure you can get across, that the derail gear isn't on your track. Well, this locomotive didn't have a crew to watch for that. It didn't come to a stop. It just hit that derail gear and flopped over on its side in the bay mud. Now this is all in selfie mode, so the train's on the other side, I'm sure, unless somehow my camera's auto-correcting, but to me it looks backward. But there it is. That's the number 3 laying on its side, tender first. The derail gear was somewhere like where we're standing, and the train just went boom. This is just boards covering holes in the bridge, so folks walking on the ties don't fall through. Because I think there's been other times where things have derailed, and these are probably covering the damage from a locomotive that derailed coming the other way. That's my guess. Because normally, unless they have, that's for pedestrian, but I think the pedestrians are intended to hang on to the rails on the sides, not be in the middle of the rail, which is not a very safe place to be. So yeah. Mercer Fraser was hired. They built a trestle next to the locomotive. Came in from Samoa side. The trestle was just a little short piece, just to right over here somewhere, to lift the locomotive up and drop it back on the track. And then I think they just pulled it back into the engine house. It had some breakage at the top of the cab. You see it's on this side. Well, the locomotive, this side would have been the side laying in the mud. And right up where that white is, that's a sign that points at the damage. That's just above the sign. It's pointing at where they've patched the boiler top. And then you can see where the roof of the cab has been banged back and had a piece welded in where it got ripped out by, falling over on its side. It didn't completely come apart, but it did break the connection and bend it. So yeah, Samoa Shops, my other happy place back in the day. These guys are cleverly laying track. I think their intention is to eventually somehow make their little trackage set that's going just over the other side of the engine house to catch this caboose and bring it into the car barn, so it could be behind the 101 locomotive. I think that's, this caboose right here. And the car barn is over that way. I'm gonna put down the camera and go back to Cardioid Express here on the old Lookout boiler.